I'll never forget the day I received the letter in the mail, a class action settlement notice from Krispy Kreme. My heart started racing as I read the words, $1.61 million. That's what Krispy Kreme is paying out. But I only had until June 22nd, 2026 to claim it. The deadline was looming, and I felt a sense of urgency wash over me. As I walked into my small apartment, the smell of stale coffee filled the air, and I couldn't help but think about how much I needed this money. The past few months had been tough, with bills piling up and a dwindling bank account. I had been struggling to make ends meet, and the thought of receiving a payout from Krispy Kreme was like a lifeline. But as I began to read the notice, I realized that I had to act fast. The deadline was just around the corner, and I had to file my claim before it was too late. I sat down at my kitchen table, the fluorescent light above me humming as I tried to make sense of the complex legal jargon. My mind was racing with questions. What did I need to do to file my claim? How much could I actually expect to receive? And what would happen if I missed the deadline? The uncertainty was suffocating, and I felt like I was running out of time. As I pored over the notice, I started to feel a sense of betrayal. How could Krispy Kreme have allowed my personal data to be compromised? Didn't they care about their customers' security? The more I read, the angrier I became. But then I saw it. It was a significant amount of money, and I knew that I had to take action. I got up from the table and started pacing back and forth in my living room. The clock on the wall seemed to be ticking away, reminding me that time was running out. I felt like I was in a state of limbo, unsure of what to do next. And then I saw the link to the official settlement website. It was like a beacon of hope, shining brightly in the darkness. I took a deep breath and clicked on the link. The website loaded slowly, and I felt my anxiety spike. What if I wasn't eligible? What if I had missed the deadline? The questions swirled in my head like a vortex, pulling me down into a sea of uncertainty. But as I began to fill out the claim form, I started to feel a sense of resolution. Maybe, just maybe, I would be able to get the payout I so desperately needed. The form was tedious, with question after question about my personal data and my interactions with Krispy Kreme. But I persevered, driven by the hope of receiving a payout. As I typed away, the words began to blur together on the screen, and I felt my eyes growing heavy. But I couldn't stop now. I had to see this through to the end. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I submitted my claim. The website confirmed that my claim had been received, and I felt a wave of relief wash over me. But as I walked away from the computer, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was waiting for something, a response, a payout, a sense of closure. The uncertainty was still there, lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce. As the days ticked by, I found myself checking my email obsessively, waiting for an update on my claim. The silence was deafening, and I started to feel like I was in a state of suspended animation. And then, just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, I received an email from the settlement administrator. My heart skipped a beat as I opened the email, my hands shaking with anticipation. The email was brief, but the words danced across the screen like a symphony of hope. My claim had been approved, and I would be receiving a payout. The amount was significant, and I felt like I had been given a second chance. As I read the email, tears of joy streamed down my face, and I felt a sense of gratitude wash over me. Maybe, just maybe, this payout would be the start of something new, a fresh beginning, a chance to turn my life around. But as I looked around my small apartment, I knew that this was just the beginning. The payout would help, but it wouldn't solve all my problems. I still had to find a way to make ends meet, to pay my bills and put food on the table. The struggle was far from over, and I knew that I had to stay vigilant. The payout was a lifeline, but it was also a reminder that I couldn't let my guard down. As I sat down at my kitchen table, the fluorescent light above me humming once again, I felt a sense of determination wash over me. I would make the most of this payout, using it to build a better life for myself. I would be smart, careful, and patient, using the money to create a safety net and a secure future. The payout was just the beginning, and I was ready to take on whatever came next. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months. I received my payout, and it was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I was finally able to breathe again, to feel like I was standing on solid ground. The payout had been a lifeline, and I was grateful for it. But as I looked to the future, I knew that I couldn't rely on luck or chance. I had to take control of my life, using the payout as a foundation to build something new. I started to make changes, small at first, but significant nonetheless. I began to budget, to plan, and to save. I started to look for new job opportunities, ones that would give me a sense of purpose and fulfillment. And I started to rebuild my life, brick by brick, using the payout as a cornerstone. As I sat in my apartment, surrounded by the familiar sights and sounds of my daily routine, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. The payout had been a turning point, a moment of reckoning that had forced me to confront my fears and my doubts. But it had also given me a second chance, a chance to start anew and to build a better life for myself. And for that, I was eternally grateful. The memory of the class action settlement notice still lingers in my mind, a reminder of the power of hope and determination. It was a difficult journey, but it was also a transformative one. And as I look to the future, I know that I am ready for whatever comes next, armed with the knowledge and the experience that I gained from this journey. The payout was just the beginning, and I am excited to see what the future holds. As I reflect on my journey, I realize that the class action settlement was just one part of a larger story. It was a story of struggle, of perseverance, and of hope. And it was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a way forward, always a chance to start anew. The payout was a lifeline, but it was also a catalyst, a spark that ignited a chain reaction of change and growth. And so, as I close this chapter of my life and begin a new one, I am filled with a sense of excitement and anticipation. The future is uncertain, but it is also full of possibility. And I know that no matter what comes next, I will be ready, armed with the knowledge, the experience, and the determination to succeed. The class action settlement was just the beginning, and I am eager to see what the future holds. The payout from the class action settlement has been a game changer for me, and I am grateful for the opportunity to have been a part of it. It has given me a fresh start, a chance to rebuild my life and to create a better future for myself. And as I look to the future, I know that I will always be grateful for the lesson I learned from this experience, that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope, and that with determination and perseverance, anything is possible. I have come to realize that the class action settlement was not just about the payout, but about the journey itself. It was about the struggles, the challenges, and the triumphs. It was about